The total household debt in Canada is more than $2.5 trillion. 2/3 of Canadians are in debt. And the average Canadian owes around $73,500 to the banks. It's out of control, but it's time for you to have some peace. This is the Money Podcast with Jake and Lincoln. No matter your walk of life or your stage of your financial journey, this show will help you achieve financial peace. If you're tired of worrying about your financial future, if you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck, if you're tired of being enslaved by debt, you're about to get the info, the resources, the hacks, the tips, the tricks, the practical advice, and most importantly, hope. Welcome to the Money Podcast with Jake Hebert and Lincoln Peters.
Jake, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic.
I am doing
That's
about
a good
the
word,
same.
right?
Yeah,
I am very thankful for all this snow that we're having.
me too.
Yeah?
Me too. I was already saying yesterday, I wish we got double what we've already gotten.
Yeah. It just spread it out a little bit more.
Just because we need the moisture.
we need a lot of moisture.
Well, we got a lot of snow, didn't we?
We got a substantial amount. We probably had 13, 14 inches at our house.
Yeah.
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 Oh, I'm very happy about that. And so are most of the farmers that I talk to.
Yeah, I believe that.
Right. So
Do you know if we got any more in the mountains?
I don't know.
I hope we got even more there.
Yeah, I know a few people that went skiing and they said there was a lot of snow out there.
That's good.
So that's good. No, we need some snowpack to build up.
Absolutely.
We need water. So,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. So
What's your joke of the day?
my joke of the day is, what do you call two monkeys that share an Amazon account?
I don't know. I like to think they're probably my kids, but because they're shopping a little too much.
I'll go with primates.
Primates?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. I ruined it, didn't I?
That was good. That's awesome.
Well, I found my kids on eBay,
Okay.
and when I came home, and they'd been on there all day.
Okay.
If they're still on there tomorrow, I'm going to have to lower the price. That's why I thought they were my kids.
That's funny. That's funny.
It is funny, isn't it? So, quote of the day for you. People may hear your words, but they feel your attitude.
Amen.
Yeah.
Couldn't be said any better than
Right? That's true. They hear and I've actually even said it this way. The things that you do are so loud, I cannot hear a word you're saying.
I'm speechless. Because it's true.
That's good. Eh?
Absolutely true.
Yeah. That's very good. So, what are we talking about today?
We are talking about how to slow down and enjoy life.
Yeah. And the thought kind of was that we talk a lot about get rid of debt, work hard, save as much as you possibly can, and save for the future, invest as much as you possibly can. And once in a while, I have people tell me something like this, and it phrases differently, but the outcome, the meaning is usually the same. Why are you always, and this is what they're kind of talking about, is the only thing you ever talk about is invest for the future, invest for the future. But I want to live, and I want to live now.
I want to enjoy some of my hard earnings, work.
Yeah. And so I thought maybe that's something that we should chat about a little bit. Maybe it'll be a very short, like a 4-minute episode today.
I think we have a little more than 4 minutes worth of stuff to say about that. But
probably.
yeah, like I had a conversation with someone a while ago, and they were saying essentially the same thing. They're like, well, Lincoln, I know a guy who worked really hard and he invested, and then he was in a really good state financially, and then he died, and he never ever enjoyed a dollar that he made.
Yeah. No, we don't want that to happen either.
So,
but I think that one of the things that I have found in my life, and I see it in other people's lives too, is that you can enjoy life and it doesn't have to cost a lot.
that's right.
Right. I think that's fairly important to understand. Like joy doesn't come from money. Do you know what I mean? Joy comes from, first of all, the Lord himself, but more importantly, or as importantly, I should say, it comes from being comfortable.
Being content with what you got.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
the relationships around you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we want to talk about. Slow down,
But
behave properly.
Having some money helps too.
Oh, it does for sure. Yes, it does. And that's why the importance of saving is so high on the list of to-do things, right? You need to save some money.
So what we're saying is there needs to be a balance.
Yeah, and a reason for it, a reason for saving. right? Because we talked about that. There are 5 principal reasons why you need to save money. Well, one is you're going to die. Somebody's going to be dependent on your income. Number 2 is you're going to get injured. You're going to get sick. You're going to quit your job. You're going to get fired.
So you need some money when those things happen.
Yeah. And then I could add to that is if you want to have peace, rather than slow down and joy, I would talk about peace more than I would talk about joy. Right. And if you have no money and you have no job and there's a million things you could be doing that make you happy, you're not going to be happy because you're going to be so stressed out.
This is true.
Right. And so, I don't know. We'd say slow down and smell the roses, right? You got to do that once in a while too. And the first thing I would say is pay attention to what gets your attention.
That's good.
Right?
Write that down, folks.
Yeah, write that down. Like there are things in life that I want to say capture your imagination, but that's not quite the right wording of it. There are things that you pay attention to, and there are things that you really don't pay a lot of attention to. Figure out what those things are. Pay attention to that. I would say that's the first thing. And then another one would be enjoy or be content. I don't even know what the word is. Be present, maybe.
Yeah.
Be in the situation fully that you're in. And I think about this when we go to dinner with Tina and the kids. When we go for dinner, cell phones don't go on the table. They stay in the pocket, unless we're specifically talking about an event or a photo or something like that involves the device being used to facilitate conversation.
Yeah, focus on the people that are right in front of you, right?
Yeah.
I had some psychologist talk. I'm listening to the podcast, Jake, and I had
good for you.
One of them where a psychologist was talking about the use of cell phones.
Yeah.
And he's saying just having the phone upside down on the table already makes the other person feel like they're not being heard.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Even though you're not even touching it, not even looking at it.
It's not a polite thing to have your phone on the table upside down. It's not more polite than with the screen up.
I took note of that.
Yeah. No, put it away.
Because I usually, if I go for coffee with people, my phone's laying on the table. It's upside down. I don't see the messages.
Yeah.
But I'm like, all right,
no,
I can
put it away.
Just as easily have it in my pocket.
Yeah, I have done it, but I try not to do that. If I'm sitting with a person, my phone's in my pocket. Or if I'm in my office, I put it in a drawer very often. Because if I have a client in there, I don't want my phone distracting me in my pocket while I'm having a conversation with them.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's good practice.
Yeah, I think so. And so the way to get to know someone and the way to get anything done in this world, I think, is to be present.
Absolutely.
Right. Whether you're trying to unwind and whether you're trying to get a business deal done or build a relationship with someone or whatever it is, the biggest things is you have to be fully engaged in that mentally and psychologically. And when I was reading through a fairly large study that was done over the last, I don't know how many years they've been doing this study on men and pornography and how that destroys the mind and why. And they went through all the psychological things about it. Maybe one day we'll talk about that. But what they were saying is that the technology today is doing something similar across all genders and adults and children alike. And that is the 30-second and 60-second reels and short videos and TikTok, for instance. And it all has to do with the short attention span. Yeah.
Endless scrolling.
Yeah. And they were comparing that with how used to they only looked at the destruction of the brain through pornography, primarily looked at it in men, right?
Okay.
And so, but now they're looking at it across the board. And they were seeing similar events, whether it didn't matter what people were looking at on the phone. But they were saying that the short video clips is having the same effect. Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it was very interesting to listen to. And so all of that is it's good for your mental health to just be present with somebody else, with another human being and build a relationship. Right. And that's across the board.
And the interesting thing is it's becoming less and less common and more difficult to achieve.
Yes, it is.
Like we almost need a special event or a special thing to happen for us to sit across the table from another person. Whereas, you used to sit at the table and have dinner together. And,
yep.
And for some families, that's still a thing, but by and large, that's kind of dying out.
Yeah, we try and make a point of it. But I remember as a kid, when I was growing up in Mexico, a couple of neighbors down from us was another Hebert family, unrelated. But there was another Hebert family, and we would get together after school, and we would just hang out, throw rocks. Those are some of my best memories.
get rocks by the river?
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a river. It was very dry.
What?
But anyway, that person whom I became very close friends with, that was my age. Even to this day, if I go to Mexico and I shake his hand and I say, hey, how are you doing? We basically pick up where we left off.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. I'm 42. This was when I was 14 and 9. From about the age of 9 to about 14, I built that relationship, and it's as good today if we see each other. Right. And so what that done to me, it just illustrated how I think that society is going to be missing out in the future.
I agree with that.
So we have to figure out a way to slow down and put the cell phone away. We talked about that, right? What was the other one we were talking about that we thought was kind of ironic? Drive the speed limit.
Yeah. I can't believe that. But if we're going to talk about slowing down, we may as well slow down all the way, right?
Yeah.
Drive the speed limit.
Yeah.
I am not advocating for speeding, folks, but just in case the police ever listen to our podcast, I do not speed, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I may just go over the limit a little bit.
That's not the same thing.
From time to time.
Here in Alberta, though, like when we first moved here back in 2007, I must have gotten $1,500 worth of speeding tickets within the first 2 months.
Are you kidding me?
No, I even got a letter in the mail saying that if you want to keep your license, you have to slow down or something like that. But the roads are wide and they're open and everything is 50 kilometers apart, and you just get in the truck and you just drive and you put the pedal down, and next thing you know, you're doing 140 and there's a cop behind you and pulling you over.
Do you ever start feeling like you were in the Fast and the Furious movies or anything like that?
No.
NASCAR maybe?
NASCAR a little bit. Left turns. They have to figure out a way to make those cars go right yet. But yeah, so slow down, right? It doesn't cost a lot of money to appreciate some of life's most important and most enjoyable and most peaceful things. It just doesn't cost a lot, right?
So with the whole driving the speed limit thing, I bet it's good for your mental health because it will just relax your whole body, right? Like you're just literally slowing down.
Yep.
Like
take a deep breath. Yeah, it's okay.
We'll get there.
One of the things that we have talked about when it comes to slowing down is accept your limitations. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, sometimes I feel like I need to save the world.
Yeah.
I need to tell everybody on how to handle their money more responsibly. And when somebody makes a decision that will harm them in the future, then I get a little discouraged. And so I think it's important to realize, hey, I cannot save the entire world and I cannot influence other people's decisions. They are responsible for their own actions. And that can be a little overwhelming.
It is. And one of the things that I think about, and I've said this before, is it's your responsibility to let people know that the things that they're doing with money is not going to work out for them in the long run. But it is their job to change behavior.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody has to save themselves in their own world, other than for eternity, obviously. And so I think about that, like we cannot teach behavior. And it sounds a little bit controversial, but you can't teach it. You can't teach behavior. It's not your job. That's somebody else. It's your job to teach your own behavior. Even children, people have commented to me, when I say that, they'll comment and say, yeah, but what about children? And when I first looked at it, I thought, okay, maybe children are an exemption. You can't teach children to behave, but really you can't. What I mean by that is that you can only give them positive incentives to do the right thing and negative incentives if they don't do the right thing. Right?
This is fascinating,
right?
But I do agree with you.
Like when you break it down like that, then the child has to decide if they want the positive incentives to do the right thing or the negatives, if they want to face the consequences of the negative things. Right? And adults are no different. With our money, we're no different. And once I accepted that, like I can't change other people's behavior. I can't even teach them behavior. Never mind change it. Each person has to do that on their own. So that's what I mean by accepting your limitations. Just accept that fact and it's okay. And everyone else is the same. Right? So just kind of chill out. You know what I mean? Do your best. Give people the right information.
Take it easy. Realize that the world will continue to spin even though...
Yes. And also if other people don't do the right thing with their money.
Yes.
Or their life. Right?
Things will just keep moving forward.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would say is make time to have some fun.
Absolutely. That's a huge one.
Isn't it?
And we're not talking about the type of fun where you spend, thousands of dollars going on this wonderful, well, that one too. Hey, use your credit card to go into that. But yeah, like we're not talking about the kind of thing where you go on this fancy vacation to Mexico that I would like to do right now. We're talking about just do simple things.
Yep.
Have fun.
Yep. There are a lot of things a person can do that is a lot of fun, that is not expensive.
Yeah.
Right. But it's almost like you have to think about that. Like, that doesn't come naturally. Maybe
think
to somebody it does, but it doesn't to me.
I think we need to do an episode where we have like 20 things to do that are fun that don't cost a lot of money.
Think there are that many? There are probably more than
There's
that.
probably more. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe we'll do 25.
Yeah. But yeah, even like for me, one of the things I like to do, I love to read.
Okay.
So if somebody gives me a book that they think I would enjoy reading, and I can sit at home on a Sunday afternoon and read a book, I'm very happy.
You could even go to this place called the library and just have your,
You could do that too.
you could have all these different books that you could read.
Yeah, our kids at our library, local library, they are known by their first names.
There you go.
And since we moved into the area, even yesterday we were having lunch with the kids, and our kids remember, like our oldest is 21 now, and we moved here when she was 14,
Okay.
13. And she's like, "Oh, is so-and-so still at the library?" And we're like, the other kids were like, "Yeah, remember that time she does?" Like, and when our oldest walks in, the librarian still remembers her first name.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is neat.
because they're always there, and they love it. But anyway,
So I was having a conversation with my mom and dad the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to go to the library." I'm like, "So what are you going to do at the library, right?"
yeah,
"Oh, we're going to go and do some puzzling." So
at the
you
library,
can even do that. You don't necessarily have to be a reader to go and enjoy.
interesting,
Yeah.
I suppose, eh? Yeah, I'm not going to do a
So
whole lot of
that's-
puzzles in my life, but if you enjoy it, like my wife loves puzzles. Like she used to do them, so many of them when we first got married, and then I would have to come home and figure out a way to glue them together and put them into these frames and stuff so that she could keep them. She had a stack of them under our bed. Like, I don't know how many, she must have had 25 or 30,000 piece puzzles there,
Wow.
but she loved it. Yeah. Especially when the kids were little babies, right?
So that's something that we're saying, take
Yep.
some time to go and just do something.
And things that aren't expensive.
Yep.
Right. But it almost goes back to the beginning. Figure out what are the things that grab your attention. Right. And that's one of the things that Tina and I have fairly consciously done. We go on quite a few little road trips and short trips with the kids, right? We've always done that. And I always say that one of the things, if the kids go off track in the future, my hope is that the amount of time I spent with them and we had fun together will be enough good memories that they'd come back to them or because of them.
Okay.
Right. And they don't have to cost a lot. Like a road trip for us is not very expensive.
So talking about road trips, I absolutely love going on a drive on a Sunday afternoon.
Oh yeah, me too.
Go to 7-Eleven, stock up on a little bit of junk food, and just some back road. It don't really matter where it goes. Just take your time. Drive less than the speed limit this time.
Yeah, look around.
And-
Don't be on your phone while you're driving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Just be out there.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would say is that helps me a lot is spend time in silence by yourself. How many people today, and I was talking about this with a group of people on the weekend, how many people can sit down purposely and purposefully think, just to stop and to think?
This one is very important, I feel like, for your mental health.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, just for me to sit down with all the noise of the world, it is hard to just sit down and block all that out and just be like quiet.
Yep.
And silent.
Yep. In silence and think.
Yeah.
Now, we said about enjoying, but I think that's a big part of it. Figure out a way to just enjoy quiet time. And if you are a man and you're with a woman and she says, "You haven't talked to me for an hour," you say, "That doesn't mean I don't like you being here." Right? I remember when Tina and I first got married, she'd be like, "Oh, you haven't said anything for the last hour on the drive." I'm just enjoying myself. You and I are here and the kids are here and this is good. Life is fantastic. Oh, okay.
That's what we call
Right.
quality time.
That's exactly what we call quality time. Yeah.
We'll have to maybe look into the 5 love languages and things like that at some point. But yeah.
Yeah, it's crucial to understand the people that
Yep.
that are your family. Yeah. Oh, we know our kids fairly well on some of that stuff. And I think that's important to know.
But like for me, I could just sit with another person on the couch. We don't have to do a single thing, just being in each other's
Yep.
presence. Like that fills my tank, right?
Yeah,
So that is definitely quality time is a big one for me.
Yeah, we actually had something interesting. Maybe it's a couple of weeks ago now. My wife was at home on a Sunday what was it? No, I was working late in the evening. I had a few appointments late into the evening, and she had gone home. And after supper, our oldest son, Daniel's 19 now, he just came up to her and he said, "Hey, Mom, do you want to watch a movie with me tonight?" And the other kids were there too, but that he came and asked her specifically. She felt that was important because he was asking her to spend time with him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so, and that's what I mean. Like, to understand what makes the other person feel important. It's actually very little, right? And then one other thing I would say is, we're probably running out of time here, but in order to slow down, and I have not done this very successfully, but I am attempting this, is to journal.
To write things down.
Yeah, write things down. And it doesn't have to be like in depth, and it doesn't have to always be this lovely poetic thing that you write down, but write down some of your thoughts and some of the events that happen in your life. It helps to process them.
Think in ink, like you said.
Yeah, think in ink.
I like
Absolutely.
that.
Yep. It is such an important thing today to do. If you can figure out a way to journal and just write things down in a notebook, keep it by your bedside. I don't know, first thing in the morning when you get up, sit at the kitchen table and write. If you have to go to work at 7, take 10 minutes and write something down. Or before you go to bed in the evening about the day that has happened.
I'm pretty quiet when we're talking about this one here because I absolutely suck at this. So.
I don't know that there's a good way to do it. I don't know that, like, you can't not suck at it. I think you have to suck at it. Or maybe the other way. Everybody sucks equally. I don't know. But I don't think that there's a good way to journal.
Because I will do all kinds of things, and I will try to commit to journaling, writing things down. And then I do that very successfully for a week. And then
that long?
After that, it's like a month goes by and it's like, oh, wait, wasn't I writing stuff down?
Yes. I've done that too. And like I said, I don't do it very successfully either, but I think everybody sucks at it. I don't think there's a good way to journal. Have you ever read old journals of like Abraham Lincoln or
I have not.
Christopher Columbus or things like that?
I have not, but I've gone back to the stuff that I have written down.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, what a treasure.
Yeah.
What a treasure.
Yeah.
Just going back and reading some of the thoughts and things that were going on at the time.
Yep.
It's like, wow.
Yep. And you can kind of reassess.
That's what I was thinking at that time. Huh.
Yeah. That was dumb. Or, hey, that was insightful.
Yeah.
Right. I need to remember that. Have you seen the new movie out about Abraham Lincoln in the Civil War? It has a lot more to do with his personality and the things that, how he thought, basically the processes. And this is why it intrigued me so much, is because it had a lot to do with his thinking process. There isn't a lot in the movie. It's a 2.5 hour movie.
Okay.
But there's surprisingly little in it in terms of events.
Okay.
Right. A lot of it has more to do with his thinking and the things he says in his speech and his ideas and ideals and the things he stood for and things like that.
Okay.
And it all comes through in a very interesting narrative. But our oldest son and I were having a conversation about it. And one of the things that he said was, why is it that people don't speak so fluently anymore? How come is it that nobody thinks anymore about grand ideas? So I started digging up some of their old journals and things like that and started reading some comments. And people wrote exactly the way that they spoke, very efficiently, very intellectually. I think that intellectualism is a bygone thing, right? And it's because it has to do with what we started talking about originally, is the way that we consume things at such a mass rate. Our brain can't absorb it and we can't intellectualize it. Right.
That makes sense.
Right. So all of these 30-second clips that you watch, if you watch 100 of them in a day, how many of them are you going to remember? 2, if that?
If that, yeah.
Yeah. And so, but the people back then, they had to write everything down. Everything was done over telegrams, letters, by boat, by train, by horse, right? Even though their lifespan was way shorter than ours is. Like, we live to be 100 now, or a lot of people do. And yet, all of the kids that are 20 and 35-year-old now, they're not very intelligent. Like, they're not intellectual. Do you know what I mean?
This is true.
Right. And so I kind of look at that and I go, I think he's right. I think he's onto something. And I think that the fast pace at which we consume stuff is a big part of that.
That's right. So all we're saying is work hard and slow down.
Yeah. What we're saying is figure out a way to make things important, I think is kind of the way I was thinking about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Figure out what things are important and don't waste your time on things that aren't.
And I'll give you a little hint. People are important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make time for the people in your life. Make time to make some new friends. Catch up with old friends.
And I think that's, for me, that's one of the big reasons that drew me into the business that I'm in. because there's so much bad stuff out there and people need better.
That's right.
Right. When I first learned how much better things could be financially, I was like, this is a good reason to get into this business. Right. So yeah, so that's kind of how I tie that all together.
I'm sure there's other things we could talk about there yet too. But,
yeah, we'll leave it there for today. Yeah.
So how excited are you about our ongoing contest where we will pay someone's credit card bill?
We have one more week.
One more week for people to qualify.
One more week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to be good. Yeah. We've gotten some entries and we are looking for more. And I think it's going to be fantastic.
All right. I agree with you. And if you want to enter,
take the link from a Facebook page, take the link from a YouTube channel, or take the link from our podcast and post it on
Spotify
or Spotify podcast, and post it on your WhatsApp status. Take a screenshot of your WhatsApp status and send it to us.
That will enter you for a chance to win.
Yeah. So if you do all three, it gives you 3 entries.
That's right.
What's the number to send it to?
306-661-0713.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. And when you ask how excited I am, I don't jump. I'm not the guy that jumps up and down and screams for joy, just so you know.
All right.
My wife, Tina, sometimes is like, Jake, how come you don't get excited about anything? And I'm like, I do. You just do all the jumping for us. No, not necessarily. But yeah, I'm the guy that's just kind of flat, you know. When I flatline one day, they're going to be like, hey, look at that. He's excited. Anyway, money does 2 things. Buys you options and it buys you time.
It also amplifies your character. It makes you more of who you already are.
Yes, sir.
Have a good day. We'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to the Money Podcast with Jake Hebert and Lincoln Peters. Jake is a licensed financial professional. Lincoln is a certified financial coach, and their passion is to provide information and to have on professional guests that can help you reach financial peace. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and we hope you've gotten some useful information from it. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. For contact information, you can get our email address and phone number in the show notes. And the same goes for any products that we may mention during the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Money Podcast with Jake and Lincoln.